Good afternoon, dear students. I was teaching you about the Indian physiography. Can you tell me the division of India? India physically divided into four parts. They are northern mountains, the northern Great Plain, the peninsular plateau, coastal plains, and islands. Dear students, I gave you a complete information about northern mountains in the previous class. Hope you know why the northern mountains are so important. It is so important since it avoids invasion from the foreign countries. It also protects our country from the cold winds and various other reasons the mountain is very important. Today, let me tell you about the northern Great Plains. The northern Great Plains. Can you observe this? In Kannada, it is written Uttarada Maidanagalu. As you see in the map, the northern Great Plain lies between the Himalayas, Himalaya Parvata, it is written here, Himalayas and the peninsular plateau, which is written in Kannada as Paryaya Prasthabhumi, is nothing but peninsular plateau. It lies between these two divisions. It is formed by the depositional work of three river systems, namely Sutlej, the Ganga, and Brahmaputra. As I told you, there are many rivers which have taken birth in Himalayas. One of them is River Ganga. These rivers flow from Himalayas towards the northern Great Plains. As they come, they carry various minerals and other aspects and deposit it in the land called northern Great Plains. Therefore, it is called depositional work of three river systems. There will be a question why the northern Great Plain is called the depositional work of three rivers. You must be able to write this answer. It is the largest alluvial tract in the world. You can see this. It is largest alluvial tract in the world. It extends east to west a length of 2500 kilometers and the width varies from 240 to 340 kilometers. It covers an area of about 7 lakh square kilometers. The plain is very flat and the rocks are not exposed on the surface. Please note down this. The importance of northern Great Plain. Why northern Great Plain is so important? See, you have to write the social science answers point wise so that you get good marks. Therefore, please note down the answer in point wise. Northern Great Plain is so important since it is very suitable for agriculture. You can see the various plants grown here, the crops. So, the Northern Great Plain is suitable for agriculture. It is suitable for transport and communication. You can see roads and railway tracks in the picture. Since the land is very flat, it is suitable to develop roads and railway tracks. It is used for industrialization and urbanization. There are different types of industries: iron and steel industry, paper industry, cement industry, and so on. The northern Great Plain is suitable for industrialization and urbanization. People from villages are moving towards the cities in search of work and other facilities, and they are settling there only. Therefore, the cities are growing and becoming urbanization. So the northern Great Plains are very suitable for urbanization. Development of trade, you can see this image. You can do various types of business in this field. A number of pilgrim centers, the holy places. Each religion has its own holy places. Mecca and Medina is the holy place of Muslims. Jerusalem is the holy place of Christians. Dharmasthala is the holy place of Hindus. There are various other pilgrim centers. The peninsular plateau, the third important physical division of India, is the peninsular plateau. This is the largest physical divisions of India. Which is the largest physical division of India? The peninsular plateau. It is the oldest landmass. It was being a part of the Gondwana land. It lies to the south of the Great Plains and occupies about 16 lakh kilometer square. It is roughly triangular in shape and its apex is formed by Cape Kanyakumari. It is bounded by many hills and plateaus, namely Aravali, Vindhyas, Satpurs. You can see Vindhyas and Satpurs where the blinking cursor is. Please note down because there will be 5 marks for drawing and locating the various places. So Vindhyas and Satpur is here. Please note down. Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. There will be definitely a question. Differentiate between Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. See, it is colored in green. Pachima Ghattagalu, written in Kannada, it is Western Ghat, and Purva Ghattagalu is written, it is Eastern Ghat. You can see, and it will be easy for you to locate. Chot Nagapur ranges, you can see here a blinking cursor. It is called Chot Nagapur. Please note down. Deccan Plateau. In Kannada it is written Dakkana Prasthabhumi. Deccan Plateau. Malwa Plateau. You can see Malwa Plateau here. And Narmada River also is located here. Please note down. The Aravali Range, the oldest fold mountain, lies to the northwest. You can see here Aravali Range. They may ask in the exam, please locate Aravali Range. See, it is located in the northwest. Guru Shikhar. It is 1772 meters, is the highest peak on the Abu Hills of the Aravali Range. Guru Shikhar, it is here. In Kannada it is written. The Vindhya range flanks the northern edge of the Narmada Valley. Vindhya range flanks the northern edge of the Narmada River. Please note down where is Narmada River, Tapi River. It's all important. They ask to locate. Satpur range runs in an east-west direction south of the Vindhyas in between the Narmada and the Tapi River. The Western Ghats are a continuous range running parallel to the west coast of India from Tapi Valley to Kanyakumari. It's a continuous range. Can you see? There is no break at all. It's continuous range. Okay. They are also known as the Sahyadris. They are also known as Sahyadris since there are very many hills and ghats. They are called Sahyadri hills. They are continuous. They are very steep on the western side and gentle on the eastern side. Please note down this all point. There will be a question, differentiate between eastern Ghats and western Ghats. It will be helpful for you. Borghat, Talghat and Palghat are the important passes across the western Ghats. There will be passes. For example, in Karnataka there are mountain passes like Agumbe Ghat, Shiradi Ghat. These are passes in, see for example, Agumbe Ghat links Shivamogga and Udupi. It's a mountain passes through which we go to Udupi from Shivamogga. Like that there are Borghat, Talghat and Palghat passes. See Palghat. South of the Palghat Gap, the Western Ghats continues as the Annaimalai, the Palani and the Cardamom Hills. The south of the Palghat Gap, the Western Ghats continues as the Annamalai, the Palani and the Cardamom Hills. Annamudi, 2695 meter in the Annamalai Hills, is the highest peak in South India. Which is the highest peak in South India? Annamudi. You can see here, Annamudi comes here. Annamudi in Tamil Nadu. The Eastern Ghats run almost parallel to the east coast of India. Now let me tell you about Eastern Ghats. The Eastern Ghats run almost parallel to the east coast of India. They extend from Mahanadi Valley in the north. They extend from Mahanadi Valley in the north. It is here, Mahanadi. You please note down. Mahanadi Valley in the north towards the Nilgiri Hills in the south. You can see it's a place where the eastern and western Ghats meet. Nilgiri Hill is the place where eastern and western Ghats meet. You can see Nilgiri Hills here. They are lower than the western Ghats and are not continuous. See, western Ghats are continuous and eastern Ghats are not continuous. See the difference. The highest peak in the eastern Ghats is Aramkonda, which is the highest Ghat in the western Ghats. As I told you, Annaimudi is the highest peak in the western Ghats. In the same way, Aramkonda is the highest peak in the eastern Ghats. Aramkonda. The Deccan Plateau is bounded by Satpur and Vindhyas in the northwest, the western Ghats in the west and the eastern Ghats in the east. The Mahadev and Michael ranges in the north. The Chotnagpur Plateau lies in the northeastern part of the peninsula. Why Peninsular Plateau is so important? It is rich in minerals, various minerals, iron, copper, gold. So there are various minerals. It is very rich in minerals. Thick forest and biodiversity. There is a thick forest and a biodiversity where the flora and fauna is found, means animals and plants are found, is called biodiversity. Influence on southwest monsoon. It influences on southwest monsoon. Useful for agriculture. It's also used for agriculture. Various crops like paddy, sugarcane and various crops are grown in this field. The birthplace of many rivers. It is the birthplace of various rivers. We have in Karnataka Kaveri and so on. It is useful for the generation of hydroelectricity. Has hill stations. Various hills are there. Therefore, it is so important. Once again, see please. It is rich in minerals, thick forest and biodiversity, influence on south of west monsoons, useful for agriculture, the birthplace of many rivers, useful for generation of electricity. He has hill stations. The coastal plains. The plateau of peninsular India is fringed by coastal plains on the either side. We have east coast and west coast. East coast and west coast. It extends from the Run of Kutch in the west to the delta of the Ganga in the east. The coastal plain can be divided into two parts, the western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain. The eastern coastal plain. This is western coastal plain and this is eastern coastal plain. The western coastal plain. Dear students, there will be another question. Differentiate between west coast and east coast. West coast and east coast. The west coastal plain lies between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. You can see Arabian Sea here. Okay, it lies between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It extends from the Run of Kutch to Kanyakumari. Run of Kutch to Kanyakumari. It is narrow, steep and rocky. It's narrow, you can see. It's not much broader. It is too narrow and steep and rocky. The western coastal plain can be divided into three parts. What are they? The Konkan coast, which lies to the south of the Gujarat plain, extends from Daman to Goa. You can see in the map. The Konkan coast, which lies to the south of the Gujarat plain. Where is Gujarat? This is Gujarat. Okay, Kandla mentioned. No? This is Gujarat. Extends from Daman to Goa. Goa is here. And you see Konkan coast, it is written here. Please note down, they will ask you in the exam to locate Konkan coast. See Konkan, in Kannada it is written. The Karnataka coast, which extends from Goa to Mangaluru. See Karnataka coast, Karnataka Tira it is written here. Please note down, it is between Goa and Mangaluru or Mangaluru. The Malabar coast, you can see here Malabar coast, which extends from Mangalore to Kanyakumari. From Mangalore to Kanyakumari. The eastern coastal plain. This extends from the north of river Subarna to Kanyakumari. North of Subarna to Kanyakumari. It lies between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. Lies between the Eastern Ghats and Bay of Bengal. In Kannada we call it Bangala Kulli. It is here. It is broader than the western coastal plain. You can see here, see, broader. It is broader, little broader than the western coastal plain. Many rivers of South India flow across the plain. They have formed deltas. That is, the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri. Traditionally, the eastern coastal plain is divided into two parts. They are the northern Sirakar coast. Here see, Sirakar Tira it is written in Kannada. The northern Sirakar coast, which lies to the north of river Krishna. The southern part, which is called Coromandel coast. It is written in Kannada Coromandel Tira. Please learn to locate it. Some lagoons are formed in these coastal plains. You can see these are called lagoons. Lake Chilka, Pulicat and Lake Kolleru. These are lagoons. Natural harbors where the ships stay are called harbors. Foreign trade, various things are transported through huge ships. Foreign trade. Fishing and agriculture, people go for fishing. Why the coastal plain is important? Okay, it has natural harbor, foreign trade, fishing and agriculture, production of salt. See, shipbuilding, useful for navigation, attract tourists. Once again, I will tell you the importance of the coastal plain. Please note down. It has natural harbors, the place where the ships can come and stay or dock. Foreign trade, it is useful for foreign trade. We can send goods and services through huge ships through sea water. Fishing and agriculture is the main work of these coastal plains. Production of salt. Shipbuilding, useful for navigation. Okay, attract tourists, therefore it is so important. There are about 247 islands in India. 247 islands. Of these, 204 are in the Bay of Bengal. How many islands are there in Bay of Bengal? 204. And 43 are in the Arabian Sea. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are in the Bay of Bengal. Andaman and Nicobar Islands, you can see it. It is in the Bay of Bengal. The Lakshadweep Islands are in the Arabian Sea and are formed by corals. It's formed by corals. Thank you, dear students. Please learn this carefully, and if you don't understand, you can ask me.